we are going to go over some words for our test on Monday. We have a language test on Monday, so we're going to do a little bit of review. If you go in your book to page 231, you can follow along with me. I'm just going over the blue pages. And before Monday, I really challenge you to study this because this will be really important for the test. So first of all, we have subject and verb usage correctly. So remember, single subjects go with single verbs, and plural subjects go with a plural verb. Singular subjects usually do not end in S, but singular verbs usually do. Remember, like a puzzle piece, because it fits together. Plural subjects normally have an S. Plural verbs usually do not. So you can see in the look closely, if you have an S ending, it's often a sign of a singular verb and a sign of a plural subject. Am, is, has, was, does, they all have an S and they are all singular. And then are, were, have, and do are all plural. So make sure your verbs and your subjects match. There's going to be a whole section that's going to be really important to make sure your subjects and verbs match. Now, sometimes you get a little prepositional phrase that will jump in the middle of your subject and verb. This will happen a lot. So as long as you know the prepositional phrases, the prepositions, you should do okay. But be very careful. So let's just go back to the beginning of the year and think, where do we find our subjects and verbs? Well, first we have to ask questions, who or what, after the verb. And we have to find the part that shows action. So once you find your subject and verb, then you can decide, okay, my subject needs to match my verb. And don't let those prepositions get in the way. Remember also, here and there are never subjects. Here and there are never subjects. They come in the beginning, but they're never subjects. You always look past. And usually when you have a here or there, you have a flip. So it's a here or there, then there's the verb, then you find the subject. So it's kind of switched around. Now also, we talked about when you have a compound subject, that means two or more subjects joined by and, you are going to have a plural verb that matches with those. All right, now we talked about sit and set, lie and lay, and all of the other ones. These are our troublesome verbs, so remember the difference. Sit is to rest or be seated, and set is to put or place something. When you have set, you always have to have an object. When you have sit, you do not have to have an object. So remember, sit is to rest or be seated, and the forms are sit, sitting, sat, have sat. Today I sit, I am sitting. Yesterday I sat, and I have sat. With set, we have set, am setting, set, have set. Those are the easy ones. And that reminds us, though, we always have to have an object. Remember, you can substitute that word for put, and it will still make sense. Then we have a lie and lay. These are one of our trickiest ones. When you have lie and lay, lie means to rest or recline, and lay means to put or place something. So lay is just like set. Whenever you have lay, you have to have an object. Lie, remember its forms are lie. Today I'm lying. I have lain. Remember, it has an N on the end, just like you're taking a nap to remind you it's resting or reclining. And then have lain. So it's lie, lying, lay, have a lain. And then you have lay, laying, laid, have laid. And remember, with lay and with set, you have to have an object. Like if you laid something, you'd have to like lay an egg, because there has to be an object in order for that to work. Now our next ones that we talked about were that whole list of troublesome verbs. Accept and accept. Accept with an A, that means, oh yes, you're invited, you're received, you're going to agree to this. But accept with an E is excluding something. So if you made an exception and you said, oh, everybody can come except for this person, this will be with an E. E means accept somebody. And except with an A, that means like you're receiving like a gift or something. Okay, then you have affect with an A and affect with an E. Affect with an A is a verb. So you could say to change or to influence something, it has to be a verb. Like the weather affected our mood. This would be as a verb form. Then you have affect with an E. This is a noun, and a lot of times you'll find the word the right before it. So check to see if you have the word the right before it. Then we have beside and besides. Beside means by the side of. Like right now, this tissue box is beside me. Besides with an S is saying in addition to. So not only did we watch the video, but we also studied besides that. So this is like in addition to. Between, remember tween, you got two. Between is with two people, among is three or more. Burst and bust, never use bust. We're talking about burst when you're saying a balloon bursts or a bubble bursts. Have or of, when you're using have or of, remember it's going to be have. Your contractions would have, should have, could have, and those are all part of your helping verbs. We don't use of, although it sounds like of if you're saying the contraction could have, would have, should have, but you're actually using the word have. If you have off of or off, just use off. You don't need off of. Then you have less and fewer. Remember, less is something you cannot count. Fewer are things that you can count. And then you have to and. When you have to and, you say try to do this, not try and, because it's not a combination of things. We're doing the one thing. Try to do this. Wait on and wait for. Wait on is to serve somebody. Wait for is when you're telling them to hurry up and you are waiting for them to I don't know, get ready or do something. Now, we're jumping over to it's and its. It's with the, it's as a possessive pronoun is I-T-S. And then it's as a contraction is I-T'-S. When you're looking at it's and its, and you're trying to decide which one, if you could say it is with it, it's going to be the contraction. If it does not make sense, it's just going to be the possessive, and you're going to use ITS. So for example, it's going to be a beautiful day. We can say it is going to be a beautiful day, so you would use the contraction IT''S. Your and your, same thing. Your is the possessive pronoun, Y-O-U-R, and then Y-O-U''RE is a contraction for you are. So, if you said, did you say that you're going to? It would be Y-O-U''RE because we can say you are, and it makes sense to say that. All right, now we have there, and there. There, T-H-E-R-E, is the opposite of here. And you can see that in the spelling of it. T-H-E-R-E is the opposite of here. It's over there. And it's a direction where? Over there. T-H-E-R-E. T-H-E-I-R, you can see it has the I in there. And you can see it looks like a little person. I is talking about possessive pronoun. So you have to say that is their book. That is their house. You have to have an object after it that it's describing. There, T-H-E-Y''RE is our contraction for they are. You could always check to see if your sentence makes sense with saying they are, and that's how you would know which one. And don't forget, here and there, T-H-E-R-E are never subjects. All right, next one. Whew, two, and two. So, T-O-O means also or more than enough. If we're saying, ooh, I've had too much food, that is T-O-O. And I always think because it's extra, so it's got that extra O. Then you also have, it means also. I would like to come to T-O-O. Then you have to, T-W-O, and that's talking about the number. Two things, T-W-O. Then you have T-O. This is your regular preposition. If you can't use the other ones, just use the boring one, T-O. Then we have learn and teach, can and may. Learn, teach is to give knowledge, learn is to get knowledge. So, teach is to give knowledge, learn is to get knowledge. Can is the ability or the power, and may is asking for permission. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do it. You sometimes need to ask for permission. All right, so that was a pretty detailed study, or quick study of our chapter. I would recommend you going back and studying that before the test on Monday. Now, we're going to do our page 254 and 255. Today, we're on Think E, I'll underline the verb, which agrees with the subject. So now let's test our knowledge. The giraffe is or are tall and long-legged. Well, giraffe is singular, so it goes with a singular verb. The giraffe is. Giraffe is. Okay, next one. Wild boars is or are short and stumpy. Well, the subject is boars, which ends in an S, so that means it's plural. Boars are. So plural subject, plural verb. They was or were made different by God. They is the subject. They is more than one person, so that's plural. They were. Now I know they does not end with an S, but it is talking about more than one, so it is plural. They were. Number 4, but in one way they was or were all made alike. Once again, they is your subject, so were is your verb because it's plural. Number 5, animals has or have always needed water in order to live. Subject is animals, plural, animals have. Number 6, the kangaroo, rat, and the camel was or were made to live on very little water. Okay. You have a compound subject right now, rat and camel. So remember, compound subject goes with a plural verb because it's more than one. So rat, camel, were, plural, plural. Number 7, frogs, on the other hand, was or were made to need much more water. I'm so glad we have this one so we can see. On the other hand, that is a sneaky prepositional phrase. So take your pen or your pencil, whatever you have, and cross that out. Subject is frogs. Frogs is more than one. Frogs were. Don't let those prepositional phrases trip you up. Number 8, but without water, no animal has or have ever lived for long. Subject there is animal. Animal is one. Animal has, because singular. Number 9, many substances like minerals and sugar is or are dissolved in water. There's a prepositional phrase there. Like minerals and sugar. So cross that out. Subject is substances. Substances are, because you have plural, plural. Number 10, plants was or were made to need minerals to live. Plants is plural, so were. Water is or are used to carry the minerals inside the plants. Water is the subject. Water is, singular. Number 12, the minerals along with the water is or are absorbed into the plant. Okay, you have another prepositional phrase. Cross out along with the water. That is your prepositional phrase. Now you have your subject, minerals. Minerals ends in S, plural. Plural goes with plural, are. The minerals are. In one way to check, double check, is if once you underline your subject and verb, read just those two together and it should make sense. Like giraffe is, boars are, they were. Okay, so just try those two as a check. Number 13, plants as well as minerals and people is or are dependent on water for life. Plants is a subject there. And then we don't need that as well as animals and people. So plants are. Number 14, verb sandwich, because it's a question. Is or are you familiar with the Bible story which shows this? You is the subject, and remember, you is always plural. I know you're only one person, but it is always plural, so you are. Plus, it does not sound right to say, is you familiar with the Bible story? 15, Peter and the rest of the disciples was or were gone away into the city by me. Peter is the subject and rest. Peter and rest. Compound subject joined by and. We have a plural. Peter, rest, were. All right, number 16. When the Samaritan woman came, Jesus was or were sitting by the well. Subject is Jesus. Jesus is singular. Jesus was. If you know how to find your subjects and your verbs, You should do pretty well with this. Number 17, she was or were there to get free water she needed to live. She is the subject. Was. She was. Number 18, salvation also is free and necessary for eternal life. Salvation is your subject. Salvation is. Number 19, this is because all people has or have sinned. People is the subject. People have sinned. And number, where are we? 20, this woman and her people was or were sinners needing a savior too. Subject is woman and people. That's two subjects. So we have a plural. Woman, people, were. 21, Jesus kindly told her about the water, which is, oops, I think I just told you the answer, is God's free gift of salvation. Number 22, we need only to trust Christ and we is or are saved forever. Subject is we. That's more than one. We are. Number 23, I have or has sinned. I is one person. Singular goes with singular. I have. Number 24, the Samaritan woman ran to tell her people that they were offered salvation too. And number 25, God has written, and whosoever will, let him take of the water of life freely. All right, how well did you do on that section? I hope you did well, because we have a whole section like that on our test, and you'll need to be able to find the subjects and verbs. So if you don't know that, go back to the beginning of Unit 14 and study that. All right, now we're on Think F. Underline the correct word in parentheses. Now we have our verb usage. May or can anyone teach or learn him any manners? We're saying, does anyone have the ability? So can anyone teach him any manners? The next one. You may or can sit or sit at my desk to do your homework. You're giving permission, so it's you may sit at my desk because you're resting or there. Number 3, may or can I sit or set these boxes in your closet? We're asking for permission, so it's may I set. Remember set always has an object, and set, our object is boxes. Number 4, I was always taught or learned to keep my room tidy. You were always taught. Number 5, the two girls could not divide it among or between them. Okay, let's look to see at the sentence. There's a hint. It says the two girls. Two is between, okay? Remember the W and the W. Number 6, she learned or taught her pupils how to read. She taught them. She gave them knowledge. Number 7, everyone sit or sit down at the table and have some lunch. Well, it's a command, and we're saying sit down. Number 8, he divided his money among or between his 4 children. He's got 4 children, so it is among. I had to choose between or among apple pie and peach cobbler. Apple pie, peach cobbler, 2 things. It is between. They decided to accept the terms of the treaty. Are they receiving or are they excluding? They're receiving, so it's accept with an A. The effects of alcohol. Now remember I told you, effects with an E is usually the noun. It has the word the in front of it. And we see the word the, so it's going to be effects. You can help remind yourself that by remembering the word the effects. So you'd have an E at the end of the and an E at the beginning of effects. The effects. 12, besides or beside their 2 cars, the Johnsons also own a boat. We're not saying by the side of, we're saying in addition to, so you have the S, besides. Number 13, try to remember. Number 14, the disease affected his tennis playing. Well, this is the verb here, so it's affected with an A. Number 15, when the balloon floated too high, it burst. We're not using busted. We can fit less or fewer packages into my car than yours. Can you count packages? You can, so it is fewer. The stereo is much too loud. It's too loud, T-O-O. All the students except Marty got a hot lunch today. We're excluding him, so it is E. There's just too much for one person. Which there's? It's there is, so it is the apostrophe S. Just too much here, TOO, for one person. 20. Will this poor quiz grade affect my average? We're saying the grade is affecting. It's actually doing the action, so it is A for affect with an A. Okay, last part. We are going over, remember G, we have to identify the parts of speech. Remember nouns, name, person, place, thing, or idea. Verbs, it's either something we can do or our helping verbs, am, is, are, was, were, be, being, been, have, has, had, do, does, did, shall, will, should, would, may, might, must, can, could. Pronouns, they take the place of nouns, and they are I, you, he, she, it, we, they, me, you, him, her, it, us, them, mine, mine, your, yours, his, her, hers, its, our, ours, they're, theirs. Then we have adjectives. Remember, adjectives describe nouns and pronouns. Adverbs describe verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. Prepositions, that was your fun list that you memorized of 46 of them. Conjunctions, fanboy, for and nor, but or yet. Interjections go at the beginning and they show extreme or strong feeling. Now let's go over 1 through 8. Did you know that whales are mammals? What is did? Have, has, had, do, does, did. It's a verb. Number 2. The blue whale is the largest animal that has ever lived. What is ever? Well, the verb is has lived when, or has lived to an extent, ever, so it would be a adverb. It's describing the verb. Number 3, a whale breathes through a blowhole. What is blowhole? Well, the key is it has the word in front of it, so it is going to be a noun. Number 4, the humpback whale makes high-pitched sounds and whistles. What's a humpback? A humpback is describing whale, which is a noun, so it's an adjective. Number 5, truly. Truly is describing what? Now, this is where it gets tricky. Is truly describing whale or is truly describing white? Oh, it's definitely describing the very next word, truly white. So, it's describing the adjective, so that makes it an adverb. Number 6, killer whales may or have keen hunting abilities. Now, normally hunting would be a verb because you're talking about going hunting, but this is saying hunting abilities, which is saying what kind of abilities. Always look at the sentences very closely. So this is saying what kind of abilities, which makes it an adjective. 7, whales are warm-blooded and have some hair on their body. And, for and nor, but or yet. Fanboy, those are our conjunctions. And number 8, the narwhal is found in the Arctic Ocean. In is a preposition. All right, we have our test on Monday. Don't forget, go over Unit 14 before our test. And I will see you on Monday for the test. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.